All right, welcome to We Are Soccer. It's Bundesliga chat time, and we have our Bundesliga expert, Nate, here again.
Hello, everyone.
Cheers.
Prost.
Check out the nice Das Boots.
Straight from Germany, the Spieltip.
Yeah. What's in here today, Nate? What are we drinking?
Well, just like the logo says, the Polonier, To celebrate
Polonier München Spieltip. I love it.
Celebrate the triumphant win of Munich there. Underdogs coming through, finally. and Landonowski setting the goal scorer record that we'll touch base on.
Yeah, we'll touch base on that in a few minutes here. Why don't we start with the Weekend Roundup? Tell us about this weekend and the games that happened and what went down in the Bundesliga.
Teleport yourself back to last week when two of us sat here and laughed and joked about Frankfurt and Schalke getting their third win, and that's not going to happen.
Nope.
We laughed it off. No, not a chance. Well, the football gods said, ha ha ha, shoomp, let's make it happen.
And that's why they play the game.
That's why they play the game. So for Schalke, for nothing to play for other than pride and, respect and, hey, we're not going to just take a loss.
Mm-hmm.
Ended up beating Frankfurt there 4-3, completely ending pretty much Frankfurt's chances of getting in the Champions League, so long as Dortmund pulled out, and finishing that race off. And it was quite entertaining. Schalke jumped out in the beginning, mishit penalty kick, then the guy buried it.
Right.
Went in a half, 1-1, and then the American came on, the great Matt Hope, who helped combine for the second goal, assisted in the third, and actually had a header that I still think he's waiting to land 2 feet on the ground after popping that in the goal. And, I mean, Frankfurt came back again, tried to come back, scored again in the end. Ended up being 4-3.
But that was quite the game. I mean, that was one hell of an entertaining game.
It was not what I expected at all. Not what I expected.
If we're being honest, we'll compare it to an English Premier League game that happened this past or last week. Sorry, the Newcastle Man City game. Mm-hmm. Neither team had anything to play for. Man City had already had the league wrapped up. Newcastle are safe; they're not getting relegated. And all of a sudden, bingo bango, 4-3. The goals are flying in left and right, and both teams are going at it.
Well, we could take it even a bit further because essentially Schalke, who are derby rivals with Dortmund, basically just helped them on the way out secure Champions League. So
yeah.
With that loss, Frankfurt really kind of went from being pretty secure in a Champions League spot at one point at third, dropping all the way out now to Europa League, which they have the Europa League secured, but you can't wonder, and we talked about the coaching merry-go-round or the shuffle there. You can't wonder if the announcement of their head coach leaving at the end of the year during all this didn't have some type of effect.
It had to have impacted it. Absolutely 100% had to. I mean, as a team, when you're playing and you only got a couple games left and you find out your coach is leaving for whatever reason, it will affect you.
Yep.
It'll affect the players. It'll affect the harmony of the team. So I think some of it can be put down to that for sure. Something you did touch on there was Dortmund. Securing Champions League qualification there. So they have qualified for next year's Champions League, which is a big deal, as we've talked about in past Bundesliga chat times, because, like we mentioned last week, can that team stay together?
Oh, yeah. So Mainz, apparently, with all the going-ons, Dortmund-Mainz was the game that was happening, and Dortmund basically needed the win to mathematically knock Frankfurt out completely, and have no hope going into this weekend. And Mainz, all the teams are quarantined, by the way, to ensure that the last 2 games would go on. All the teams are in the hotel, and the whole team watched as they the day before their relegation spot was completely taken off and they were secured. And for Mainz, at a point, they were at the bottom. They were at that relegation bubble, dabbling it there, and went the second half of the season, won all, and it was.
They went on a hell of a run. I mean, just an unbelievable run.
It was a huge accomplishment, and there was some video of players celebrating, and then the videos being ended, And you can't help to wonder if the 3-1 beating that Mainz got might have been a little bit of a afterglow hangover from the night before.
The night before, you find out that you are now safe, and you are not going to be relegated, and you do have a game the next day. I can see they did a little bit of partying because being safe, securing your spot for the Bundesliga for the next season is a big deal, especially coming from where they were, like you said, bottom of the table at one point and going on an unbelievable run. I'm sure German footballers, soccer players tipping back beers.
Never heard
absolutely
of.
not.
Never heard of.
No. But yes, I believe they probably did. That's okay. It happens.
And so Dortmund, though, but hats off to Dortmund because they really, with the Polko tournament and these last few games,
there could have been a little bit of a hangover right there for them. There could have been, but they just came out flying. They went at it,
and they're looking like the team that they were supposed to be this year.
Yeah, I agree.
And Edin Terzic really has these guys playing well. And it's really tough to believe, and I know I said last week, hey, maybe, he had his contract extended. Maybe he stays. You have so many openings now within the Bundesliga, so many coaching availabilities. Even in the Premier League, like, there's spots where he could go.
Yep.
I find it hard that a coach who won a title, who brought them back into Champions League, had to go on a run to do it because of what he was handed, has really managed the team well, is just going to take an assistant job. Maybe he does. And at the same time, you're Marco Rose, you're coming in, okay? You have this new team. Things start going bad, and the guy who basically saved the day and won a trophy is your assistant. How does that work?
The new coach has to be looking over his shoulder the whole time, right?
Yeah. So, it's... And maybe the relationship is just there. I think it would be great if they could work it out. I think it would be great if he could stay.
Yep.
Clearly, I think he could add value. But again, it really is hard to believe that he is just going to, sit out with all these openings that he could go to even within his own home country.
I did hear a small rumor today that Lampard was asked to interview for the job and he turned it down, which is, I think, not to get away from, Bundesliga and the chat we're doing, but Frank Lampard most likely turned that down because he's in negotiations with Crystal Palace. So, just that. But interesting that he was asked and that they reached out to him. A rumor, again, just
this is the time of year all the rumors and
Right.
speculations happen,
Right.
and I think Man United's probably tagged to 1,000 different players all at once.
Yeah, and speaking of rumors and Man United, we've heard it for 2 years now, the Jadon Sancho, and we've touched on it before, and I don't want to go down this broken record path again with Jadon Sancho to Man United, but I did hear another rumor today about Jadon Sancho moving, but this time not to Manchester.
Bum, bum, bum!
I think he could end up at Chelsea. That rumor came out today, and I started to think about it, and it makes a lot of sense.
But they have the all-star Timo Werner. What do they need him for?
Yes, they have Timo Werner up top. But
who used to play for?
No idea who you're going to say. No idea.
Stuttgart,
yes, of course.
Sold him to Leipzig.
But if Chelsea move one or two of their players, who Tuchel seems to be... Tammy Abraham, he's going to move on for the summer. He has to. Obviously, the rumors are Pulisic's not happy, and maybe he gets moved on. That would open up a lot. It would free a lot of space for Jadon Sancho to slide right in there. So that, again, I said it 100 times. I'm going to say it again. I hope Jadon Sancho. I hope Erling Haaland. I hope Gio Reyna. I hope that entire team stays together for Dortmund. I hope they don't do what they've done in the past.
I still think they're going to lock it in for one more year. That's my prediction. I could be dead wrong. Maybe it's just me being hopeful, because it would be nice to see that team, try to fight for the first place spot.
Yep.
The competition's getting heavy. Wolfsburg is a really good team. Marsh coming into Leipzig should be very interesting.
Yep.
Stuttgart's going to win the league next year. And so all these things are really good. And
I love how you just slipped that in there. Brilliant, by the way. But
Wolfsburg, you mean? Yeah, I guess it's probably it's a long shot. They might go through a coaching change as well. Actually, is the big rumor that's going on with that. So they're going to run out of, like I said, they're going to run out of Germans to fill spots in a minute here.
Let's continue with the roundup from the weekend,
So,
and then we'll continue. Keep going.
Another interesting match that happened is Augsburg-Bremen, and that Augsburg victory, the 2-0 victory that they had, actually was what helped Mainz have securing, and caused Coach Kofet to be tossed out. So, last game of the season, one more to go, maybe two, depending on what happens with Bremen. And they basically replaced their head coach with the club legend Schaft, who actually won the double for Bremen back in 2003, 2004. So he's not a bad coach. He's been around that club for quite some time now. He's had some stints in some other areas and didn't do too well. But who knows what he could pull off. And, it's kind of weird timing. Firing, why wait till the last day? But at the same time, I guess if you feel your head coach has absolutely lost the locker room and he can't do anything, this is your last-ditch effort. I guess it is what it is.
It is just very strange timing, right? 2 games left in the season, and you fire your head coach. Why didn't you do it 2 weeks ago? Why didn't you wait till the end of the season? There must be something in play, or just disharmony with the coach and the board, and adios, see you later.
I think it boils down to a last-ditch effort. I mean, they're going to be playing, Bremen's playing Gladbach, I believe, and we'll get into that in a minute, and that's going to be a tough battle for them. But I think it came down to we don't trust that this guy can't beat Augsburg, who was dabbling with relegation there too, and he's on a slide. We're done. We're going to find someone else, and you know what? What's the worst thing that could happen? What? He loses again because he's been losing. The new guy loses. They've been losing the whole time. So, I think it was a last ditch effort. We'll see how it works out. I have a feeling it's going to work out swimmingly. We'll get to that later. Hertha played Cologne. Hertha Berlin is now relegation safe with the tie with Cologne. 0-0 match, not much there.
Yep.
On the more interesting side, only because of what happened, Freiburg tied 2-2 with A1 Bayern Munich.
Yep.
Now, titles are secured, but what happened here was Roberto Landonowski was able to get...
The guy is just a legend.
Yeah.
I mean,
he is now.
I mean, you score 40 goals in league competition in a single year.
40 goals. You got to remember, he was out for a little while.
Yeah,
so it's 40 goals in 28 matches. So he didn't even play a full season. 40 goals is a little bit above, almost a goal and a half a game is what he put in.
And the record had it's almost
Gert Miller, 1971 to 1972.
72. I mean, that's 50 years.
Yep.
That's phenomenal. That record stood for 50 years by another legend, German legend, Gert Müller. And I don't know if you've looked at this, but if you look at the top 5 goal scorers in Bundesliga in a season, Gert Müller, I believe, holds 3 out of the top 5. Mm-hmm. And I, for one, a couple of years ago, thought these records would never be beaten. And here comes Mr. Lewandowski, and just what an absolute a nose for a goal. Just can put the ball in. For
anyone who's like, oh, it's the Bundesliga, it's Munich, they score all the time. Why did it take 50 years?
Right.
You know, so obviously something special. It clearly is. You watch him play. You watch his goals. You watch the one game where he basically got angry when Pep used to coach the team and took the game in his hand and scored 4 or 5 goals in the matter of 5 minutes. It was pretty crazy. He's a player. He's a fantastic player.
He's a competitor as well. Yeah. I mean, that's what you got to love about him.
Yeah, and you know what? To be honest with you, he should have had 41 and 42. He should have had 41 and 42 that game. He missed 2 opportunities. One where it was one of those where all you had to do was just tap it. And so I think going into next week, I think he will beat the record. I think he'll get above 40, hopefully about 41 at least.
Yep. I think
and should have did that game, to be honest.
I mean, if you're a betting man, and I am, put money on Lewandowski scoring in that game.
Well, it's Augsburg, so.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. But again, it doesn't matter who it's against. Their top level games. He's tied the record. That's great. Mm-hmm. Now, hopefully, he puts it and goes past it and puts his own name stamp on it. I mean, just an amazing, amazing mark. So that kind of brings us to
2 more games to cover that
Okay.
are of
All right.
importance. Leverkusen tie with Union Berlin.
Meh.
Leverkusen is now locked in Europa, and that tie with Union Berlin shook up the whole place for the 7th.
So explain to the
spot.
viewers the Europa League spots and how that works. So,
So-
probably a lot of them are familiar with the English Premiership and
Yep.
how it works there. But explain it to us in the German.
It's
the
the same.
Bundesliga.
It's the same thing.
Okay.
You got the Champions League.
Yep.
You got the Europa.
Top 4 is
Top
Champions
4 is
League.
champions.
Yep.
5, 6 Europa. But then we have the new spot, which is the Europa Qualification League, which is the same. It's what I thought Arsenal was sitting there, or West Ham. One of those two are battling out right around there, those spots.
Yep.
So right now, that 7th place spot is occupied by one Union Berlin with 47 points.
Oh right, here comes the theory of how Stuttgart can
We'll
climb.
get there in a minute. We'll get there in a minute.
Jumping
We still
ahead,
gotta-
sorry about that.
It's a tease. It's called
Yeah.
trailer. So we have 47 with Union Berlin, 46 with Gladbach, 45 with Stuttgart, and 45 with Freiburg. So as you can see, it's all right there. A series of wins or losses, anyone can take it. So I remember, if we go again, rewind back to last week, what I say, mid-round table. None of them are important. Just watch Stuttgart because it's going to be a great game.
Those are your words. Those are your words.
And I am sometimes right because I get lucky. So, Gladbach versus Stuttgart. Gladbach loses. By my surprise, I thought they were going to win. Stuttgart's battling a series of injuries on their end with lots of key players, but they pulled it out. Pulled it out with a 2-1 win. Very exciting game.
Yep.
Stidl had a goal that was absolutely amazing. If you go back and watch it, I try not to because it was the Gladbach goal where he kind of smacked it in, falling backwards into the foot.
Yep.
Great goal. And then one Japanese international at the 72nd minute, Endo, cranked it in 30 yards out. I posted that video. And what's nice about that video is it shows you the percentage chance of it actually going in. And that one was 3. So he cranked it in, 3% chance, and he's been an absolute stud as a defensive midfielder.
That goal was phenomenal. He didn't need any space at all.
Oh, no.
It was like
He had no
operating
space.
in a little shop, and boom, upper 90. Brilliant goal. Absolutely brilliant goal. Again, you did post that on the We Are Soccer Facebook page and as a highlight. And
it's
thank
one
you
heck
for
of
that.
a
Brilliant
highlight.
goal.
And then the last second goal came in from an assist from Stitzel, who had a wonderful, what I describe, look of an 80s, adult film star mustache, cranking the goal in, going in, and then the 6'7", 6'5" forward, Sasha Klevsik, kind of redirected it with a tap, very cheekily, and did what I'd do. Everyone else did the hard work, and I just touched the ball last. Therefore, it's my goal.
Right spot, right time.
Right
man.
spot, right time.
That's a good goal score right there.
That's a brilliant goal, and he actually has a lot of good ones too. So with that leads to basically next week and what we would call the battle for 7th place, because everything's locked. As I went through, everything's locked except for we have the battle at 7th and the relegation area.
Relegation's locked. Champions League locked.
Well, relegation's still open at 2 spots, but Champions League, Europa, and we will get to that in a second. But the battle for 7th is actually what's going to be very, very interesting with Berlin, Gladbach, Stuttgart, Freiburg. And it really doesn't matter because Stuttgart, they have this one already won.
Tell me how Stuttgart...
They have it already won. So Union Berlin is going to play Leipzig.
Yes.
It's Nagelsmann's last game.
Yes.
How has he done recently? A loss and a tie.
Yes, not very well.
Not very well.
So
he's moving on. He's got to win this game. It's Union Berlin. He's got to go out with the win.
So you
he's
think
failed everywhere else. He's there. Leipzig's going to come out. They're going to smash Berlin. They're just going to smash in the face. Then we got Gladbach, right, versus Bremen. Remember, there's a coaching change.
Yep.
There's a legend coaching this team. A legend of the club. He's going to have these guys geared up. It's a home match. Marco Rose doesn't care. He's on his way to Berlin. He's on his way to Dortmund. He's out. He's just going to go. He's going to go to Dortmund and have fun and win over there. Bremen's going to be so hyped up. Josh Sargent's going to come out and like score a hat trick because he's got an arm sleeve now, and all good goal scorers have an arm sleeve tattoo, so he's going to just bam, bam, bam. That one's sealed.
That's
then
quite the theory there.
It's not a theory. These are facts. This is science.
Sorry.
This is science.
Science.
I did analytics all day long. As computers. I can't get into it. Adobe, PowerPoint. Anyway, so then Stuttgart versus Betafield. We already know what's going to happen there. Stuttgart has a bunch of injuries. I get it. And Endo's actually on a red card. So he can't play.
Yep.
They're still going to come. They still got the firepower. They got the American coach who's
give me a
coming
score. Give me a score on this
in
game.
there. That's easy. 2-0. Easy.
I was going to say, is it 2-0?
It's 2-0.
Right.
They're going to lock it down. Krobel's going to be bam, bam, bam. Pot saves, left, right. Wham, wham, wham. Like it's going to look like a Jackie Chan kung fu flick with him just karate the ball out of net every which way. Okay? Then
So
question,
all this happens,
Yeah.
and Stuttgart find their way into that 7th position.
They go from League 2, 7th place, playing European football. What a story. Party in the Neckar Plaza. We're going to be listening to Fantastic Fury Troy. We'll be blasting it out. Everyone that goes, I don't know what that is. That's okay. The people at Stuttgart know what it is. We're going to be partying.
All that counts.
It's awesome. It's going to be great. Stuttgart Hop rolls flowing through the streets. Okay. Schwabish side, here we go. This is it.
So next week when we do Bundesliga chat time, we're just going to be...
I'm either going to be on
you're
cloud nine.
You're still going to be hungover.
It's either going to be cloud nine and even more annoying than what you just heard.
Yeah.
And trust me, I can get way more annoying than what you just heard. Or it's going to be you laughing at me for a good 20 minutes straight. Either way, it's going to be entertainment.
Entertaining, for sure.
But in all seriousness, if Stuttgart does this, that's a great accomplishment from the League 2 team coming out, one of the youngest squads in the Bundesliga. A lot of these guys are signed on for long-term deals, so they're going to be back next year. And going from League 2 into, it's not Europa, it's not the Champions League, but it is European football. It is extra football. It is money in the bank. It is a sign that your club is progressing.
It's more than that. One, yes, it's a sign of progressing, and two, the money in the bank. But it's players will want to come and play for the club, right?
Oh yeah.
We've been talking, about big players moving from club to club. Certain players won't move to clubs if they're not in the Champions League, right? So younger players might not be able to get to said big club, but they will definitely move to a club playing in the Europa League because it's in Europe and there's extra games to be played and they get to showcase their skills. So there's a lot of benefit to that.
And they have good young talent that they have to keep, right? Because other people are looking at them.
Yep.
And by doing that, it shows that their seriousness and their progression, and hopefully they can keep it. And they have one of the most dynamic coaches in football, who actually is an American, who actually is doing very well, and it's highly entertaining when they're at full health and they're playing.
With that whole, we'll call it science, I'll call it theory.
Analytics.
You call it that. I'll just call it your crazy theory. With all that theory, you said Werder Bremen, they do win.
Yep.
Josh Sargent puts the ball in the net. If your analytics and science break down and that doesn't happen and Werder Bremen are relegated, the rumors are out there about Josh Sargent, the young American, moving this summer. I think, obviously, when a team is relegated, they have to sell players to make up the money.
Right.
Josh Sargent is he's an asset, and he is a prized asset.
And I think we read, what was it, Frankfurt, Gladbach, Stuttgart, and Leipzig. To be honest with you, Frankfurt doesn't make sense unless they sell Silva, which they could because he's one of the better goal scorers in the Bundesliga, and they could try to cash in on him. Stuttgart, in my mind, doesn't really make too much sense with the players that they have if they come back healthy.
Sure.
Unless they get rid of Nicolai Gonzalez. I think Gladbach or even a Leverkusen would be the two spots maybe that.
And that's just if he stays in the Bundesliga, right? I mean, he could opt to jump to the Premiership if clubs come calling.
Yep.
We'll see. I mean, that's we're getting into the transfers, the rumors of the transfers, and what happens.
And I think there's a difference between him and you look at a Matt Hope who's still trying to break into a starting squad, and this is his first year. It's not started his first year. He's been on.
Yep. He's been there. He's proven he
is an active starter.
Yep.
Whether he goes down with the club, I kind of don't see it happening.
Yeah, I don't see that happening either. I think he'll jump.
No, I think, but I think Matt Hope should stay with Schalke. I think that's his opportunity to play first team.
Yeah, we'll see what happens, right?
Yeah.
So those games are this weekend on ESPN Plus.
Yep.
I believe those are 9:30 Saturday morning.
All at
Eastern
9:30.
time. Every single
Ready to go.
game starts at the same time.
There's only one you need to watch, though.
The Stuttgart.
The Stuttgart, yeah.
I gotcha.
Yeah.
I'm in on it for sure. I'm in on it. I will be watching that.
Cash the chips.
Yeah. All right. Well, I love it. Lots of games this weekend, 9:30 a.m. ESPN Plus, as we said.
Yep.
Make sure you watch. What else we got to talk about here?
Right at the bottom would just be the relegation. Schalke's already out. If Bremen wins, they're safe. Betafield, when they lose, obviously, will be out. Cologne plays Schalke. I think Cologne will end up being in the relegation, winning it and being in the relegation game. So similar to what they do in Premier League, except for it's a one and done. And right now, the possibility for League Two would be either Günther Fürth or Kellel. Would be the two teams that are looking to go through. Hopefully, I would like Fürth to secure the spot win against Düsseldorf this weekend, and hopefully, with a little luck and a little help, get that number 2 spot, because I think Cologne will be tough to beat in that relegation battle. If Günther Fürth goes up, that would be a one. Julian Green coming back into the Bundesliga.
Another American playing in the Bundesliga.
Another former Stuttgart player playing in the Bundesliga. So, yeah, that would be great for him to come back. He's an active starter on that team. And quite frankly, I think he should be getting better looks at our national team. That's a story for a different day. Getting into the first league will help him.
Yes.
Will help that happen.
Absolutely.
So,
absolutely it will.
Hopefully that'll be that'll go down for them. I think they have hopefully the chance to do that is get that number 2 spot. I think Cologne is going to be really tough to beat in that relegation game, to be honest.
Well, there you go, folks. I just came up with a game I think we'll save. There you go. I like that. Closer to the camera.
Fritz.
Yeah.
It's all about the Stuttgart.
We're going to play later in the summer. We're going to play 6 Degrees of Stuttgart. I'll name a player, and you see if you can, within 6 moves, get back.
Oh, I can definitely get there.
We might have to shorten it down to like 3 degrees of Stuttgart, because I think you can do it.
It's a world of football.
Yeah, man. Brilliant. All right,
that's all it is.
We got anything else from Bundesliga chat time for the folks here?
I mean, we covered it all. I mean, if you don't want to watch any League 2 games, to be honest with you, that Günther Fürth game's on ESPN2 as well against Düsseldorf. Fun story about Düsseldorf. They have a lot of bars there, and yours truly has, drank there.
The Bundesliga expert has partied in Düsseldorf.
Has partied in Düsseldorf. So, Germany's the longest bar, as they say. So, went down there. It's good stuff.
Good town, huh?
It's a good town.
All right.
So, other than that, we'll see how the games go out. Then we got the relegation game, maybe, and a little recap, and then you'll never have me on again. For months later.
Lots more coming with all these players moving around, all these rumors. And
Europa.
Don't forget the Euros,
Euros.
Europa, Euros coming up, and I think maybe next week we can talk about the 26-man squad that Joachim Low just named.
Yep.
That'll be for next week, because I think we're almost out of time for Bundesliga chat.
Plus, I still have to prove to you why Klinsmann's not as bad as you think he is.
That argument, my friend, that discussion is coming, because I am not a fan of Jurgen Klinsmann, and Nate seems to be a big fan of Klinsmann.
I think he's a complicated individual.
I think he's a terrible manager.
Well,
harsh! For another day, for another time. All right, well, thanks for joining Bundesliga Chat Time, and hope you enjoyed it. Cheers.
Prost.